Hi everyone, thanks for joining this session. My name is Yann from Aerowave. I believe in previous session, John and Simon and Aaron already shared a lot about what is ASPM and who Apiiro is. So in this session, we will focus more on the technical part. And in the end, we'll show a live demo to show how actually Apiiro work and how we resolve the problems in the application security. So application security is a very big topic, which include a lot of things. Okay, so if we look into the application security and the application lifecycle, so how we build the application, how we build an application. So in the beginning, we might build the application with code, can be like Python, C++, Java, or something, right? And then after the code, we need to figure out some infrastructure to deploy the application. Then it could be cloud infrastructure, or it could be like an on-prem data center. And depends on the requirement for the application, we can use the VM host or continuous Kubernetes. Then after that, the application will continuously running, and the security team and the operation team must do the day-to-day operation to that. But if we look into this from a security point of view, when we planning the application security, we need to cover the whole process from code to runtime. And usually this has been done by different team with different toolset. So we can starting from the left part. So why we call it left part is because when we're talking about code security, DevSecOps, usually we are talking about shift left, right? That's why we call this left part. So in the left part, we are talking about how we integrate with the pipeline. So they usually the security integrate with pipeline could be in multiple different stages. For example, we can integrate with the from the developer local machine. We can integrate from the Git repository. We can integrate with CI stage, like the Jenkins, HDevOps, AWS DevOps. Or we can also integrate with the private registry or CD stage, like Argo CD. So we can integrate with every stage in the pipeline. So there are a lot of security solutions. In the left part, we may have SCST, or like SCA for vulnerability scanning, like IEC for misconfiguration scanning, like the secret detect for sensitive data scanning, or also we might have some tools for image scanning. Okay, so this is usually what we done in the left part. But if we moving a bit to the right part, which we need for runtime, we may have more options. Like we have CSPM, the Cloud Security Posture Management, for the cloud infrastructure configuration, and we may have CWPP to manage the workload protection in runtime, and also with like DSPM to manage the cloud storage security. So we have a lot of tools. And right now, what we can see is in the market, the trend is to make both left part and right part combine different functions into one platform. We call it the platform approach. I think it's good, though that's the reason why you can see a lot of acquisition happening in the market in this past 2 or 3 years. Though platform approach is a good way because if we integrate all the different functions in one platform, it will significantly reduce the cost about operation and can like take advantage of the platform to make the management much easier. But it's not perfect. We are still facing some challenges in the platform approach. One of the very important thing is the vendor locking. So what is vendor locking? For example, if you are using one single platform to manage your application security from the code to runtime, but you are not satisfied with one of the function, it would be very difficult for you to turn to another vendor. So this is something we call the vendor locking. Platform approach is good, but vendor locking is a pain point for the customers. Along with that, in the application security, we also have some other challenges. So one of them will be the false positive. I don't want to say too much about the false positive because I believe most of us know how pain it is, right? It's a pain point for both security team and operation team and even developer. No one can handle like thousands of like 10,000s of vulnerabilities, and most of them are false positive. It's really wastes a lot of time. The second thing is, in the beginning, we mentioned about in the application security, we have left part and the right part. So usually the left part and right part are separate and managed by different team with different toolset, and they are not related. So it's not the best approach for security. Why? It's because I mentioned if you want to manage the security application security well, we must cover both from code to runtime. For example, we may need to know for some vulnerable packages, if this vulnerable packages is really being deployed in my environment or it's just being listed in the POM file. It's quite different, very different on the security level. But unfortunately, it's not easy because usually it's managed by different tools. That's why platform approach is a good way, because in platform approach, you can cover both from code to runtime. So everything is related. So you can easily to do this. But as I mentioned, platform approach will cause another issue, which we called the vendor locking. So the question is, how can we take the advantage about platform approach without the vendor locking? So this is the question, right? Then this is also the reason why ASPM came into the market. Actually, ASPM is not something new. ASPM is, I think, in this market at least for 3 years. Okay, so ASPM is born to help the security team to manage all application-related risk in one single platform dashboard. Gartner also have a very clear definition about what ASPM is and what's the key capabilities about ASPM. So I just listed 9 key capabilities about ASPM, in which I think 4 of them is the most important. One is integrate the testing and the monitoring tools together. Second is correlation of findings and alerts, risk management, and how to prioritize the issue. So these 4 are the most important in the ASPM. As a leader in the ASPM field, Apiiro had been born in 2019 and win the champion about in IC Sandbox in 2021. And in the past three years, Apiiro do help a lot of enterprise customers to improve their level of application security. Then we are looking into the technical part to see how Apiiro help our customer to resolve the challenges in application security. First, let's look into how Apiiro is thinking about the application security risk, the application risk. So in Apiiro, we never think about the application risk as a single point. So all the risk for applications are related, okay, are related. So they are not like something separate single point. It's just like cryptography. So for example, if a developer hard codes some sensitive data into the code, and this sensitive data, like secret, might be leaked, and which could cause another compromise when the application released in future, right? And vice versa, when the application released and has been running and open to the world, the attack, the compromise might happen, might because of one of the vulnerabilities. So as the security guy, as a security team, we need to make sure we know how this vulnerability has been input into this application, when, and who input this into this application, right? When, who, and where. There we can figure out what's the root cause about this issue and we can resolve it. So in Apiiro, all the application risks are related. We are considering them as a whole. It's a graph. It's not some single point. So in Apiiro, we have the built-in capabilities for almost all the capabilities in the left part for core scanning. In Apiiro, we call it deep code analysis, like SCA, SST, sensitive data scanning. Even we also cover the supply chain security. So we already covered, but a more important thing for Apiiro is we not just provide a built-in capabilities, we also provide integration. This is also a key capability about ASPM. So we can consider Apiiro is a chassis is a chassis. So you can use any functions as you want as a line car and insert into this chassis and build your own platform. This is value. This is advantage about Apiiro ASPM platform. I just take an example. For example, you prefer the SAST capabilities about 45, and you prefer the SCA capabilities about SolarCube. Just take an example. So you can integrate them both into Apiiro platform. So Apiiro will help you to how to prioritize the issues for these two vendors. And you can also integrate your API gateway. You can integrate your Kubernetes security into Apiiro. Then Apiiro will cover the application security from code to cloud. Apiiro will tell you the vulnerable packages has been deployed into your Kubernetes node or not. Apiiro will tell you does this vulnerable package has really been used in this code or not. So this is the key capabilities about Apiiro, also the key capabilities about ASPM. Okay, I will just move into the demo, then we will see how exactly Apiiro is working.
Okay, so I just logging into the Apiiro platform. Actually, Apiiro is a SaaS platform. You don't need to install anything. Apiiro provides a SaaS offering platform. Okay, so after you logging into the Apiiro platform, the first thing we need to do is to integrate your repository, integrate all your components into this platform. So if you go into Apiiro, we go into the connectors, we go into the source control. So Apiiro support on all the Git-based platform. In the market, for example, like the GitLab, GitHub, Bitbucket, or even other repository, Azure DevOps. Okay, so you can integrate your repository into Apiiro. Then Apiiro will automatically look into your repository. So you can also select which repository you want to manage in Apiiro, which repository you don't. So this is depending on the security, depending on our customer. So after we integrate the repository into Apiiro, if we back to the dashboard, a suggestion from us is the second step is just waiting for maybe 30 to 45 minutes. We will see all the scanning results. But there's one thing we can do. We can set up an SDR8 for all the security issues. Why we recommend to do this is because if by doing this, we can set up a standard for the security team. So example, for the critical risk, the SRA must be 1 day. It means 24 hours. For the high, it might be 2 days. For the medium, might be 3 or 4 days. For the low, might be 1 week. So we can set this depending on different requirement. So it can give you an overview and give you a standard. So how the SRA had been matched. Okay, this is first thing I think we can do to set up the SRA. And Apiiro will continuous scanning your repository based on different commit, based on different push. Then we can check the MTTR. So this is also very important parameters for our security. So from the MTTR, we can see how our security is improved. Because in Apiiro, you can see if you see the MTTR is going low, we can see, okay, we do have some improvement about our security, right? We also can see some other graphics in this dashboard. And Apiiro, as I mentioned, Apiiro do provide a lot of built-in capabilities. So if we go into the solution, we can see here is Apiiro covers we have the SCA, like the SCST. Yeah, we have the SCA, SCST, like the sensitive data scanning. We call it secret scanning. Like we also cover the supply chain security, which is to check the configuration about your pipeline towards itself. For example, if you have any misconfiguration in your Azure DevOps, have any misconfiguration in your GitHub runner, GitLab runner, yeah. Also, we have the API security, which help to check if you have any misconfiguration or sensitive data in your API code. Okay, so this is a building capabilities. And the most of the capabilities here we already can see is on the left path, right? So, but Apiiro is not just provides the capability for your left path, it can also integrate with your runtime. This is a key capability about ASPM. So if I go into the connectors, I go into the runtime, so you can see we can also integrate with the runtime platform. We can integrate with your API gateway. Then we know, okay, how many code has been deployed into exposed to the world with the API, and how many application has been really deployed into your Kubernetes cluster, right? And also we are able to integrate with some third-party CNAPP tools, for example, like Wiz. I think it's the most popular CSPM tools in the world. So from I will show this capability later. So from this capability, we can cover the security from code to cloud. Okay. Then let's looking first, we can start from the left part. So for left part, we mentioned one of the most important pain point for core scanning is the false positive, right? So Apiiro do provide a lot of capabilities to help to reduce this false positive, help to prioritize which issue you need to resolve it in day 1 and day 2. So if I go into SCA, I just take SCA as an example. So if I go into SCA, I move into the risk. So we can see a lot of risk here. This is for vulnerability. But as we know that how the vendor check for the SCA for vulnerabilities is usually what the other vendor do is to check the POM file. In, for example, Java, they just check the POM file. But does this packages really be used into this code? Or it's just being listed into the POM file but not actually be used? We don't know, right? This is one of the reasons to cause the false positive. But in Apiiro, if we go into the insight, we go into the security insight, we can see we have a filter use in code. I can collect it. Okay, it will help us to filter all the vulnerabilities which are really used in the code. Okay, I just take one as an example. Oh, get into here. So you can see these packages are not just being listed in the POM file. It's really being used in the code. This is Java code which use these vulnerabilities. So if you click here, it will redirect her to the code you have. So there are a lot of things we check why this code has been used in the code. One is the input, because you will input some like libraries, and in your code you might also call these functions, right? So how to do this? Might need different capabilities from different tools. For example, you might need the capabilities from SCA to figure out the vulnerabilities, but you also need the capabilities about SCLC to figure out how and when and where this packages has been used. So this is a combine of different functions together. So this is to help our security team members to help to reduce the false positive. One of the way to reduce false positive. So if we looking back into insight, we have a lot of filters. Like this is has vulnerabilities is high in EPSS. It's an exploit, it's a POC in the market or not. Right, so we do have a lot of parameters help to figure out and prioritize the issues. This is one of the thing. The second thing we are talking about in the application is most of the time the application security left part and right part are managed by different team with different process, right? So it will be very difficult to correlate them together. But in Apiiro, it's not a problem. Why? Because we can integrate with third-party tools. So I will also just also take SCA as an example. I go into the risk. I go into the insight. I go into the filter. So what we can see here is we have another filter parameter we call deployed. We can see here deployed. It means this packager has really been used in a deployed application. If I click here, I just make one of the results. So you can see here, we have a attack path, exposure path. How this vulnerability has been deployed? It has been deployed in one of its containers. This is the container name, and this container has been exposed by API server or exposed by Kubernetes service. And this code is from this packages is contained in this code, and this code is in this repository. So we can see the whole path. From here, we can combine the code part with the runtime together. Okay, and with this capabilities, we don't need you to use all the capabilities in Apiiro. You can use the other functions which you need. For example, in Apiiro, if you move into connectors, we can connect to different vendors. We can integrate with different vendors. We can integrate with, in the runtime part, we can integrate with GK, Azure AWS. In the code part, we can integrate with GitLab, GitHub, DevOps. But for example, maybe you already have the SCST tools and the SCA tools, but you just want to do a correlation. You want to make it a platform. Apiiro can help you, because in Apiiro, if you go into security tools, we have the capabilities to integrate with different security tools like Black Tech. If you are using Black Tech, or if you are using like 45, you are using like SonarQube, SonarType. So we have the capabilities to integrate like Snyk. Okay, you can integrate all the tools into Apiiro. As I mentioned, Apiiro is a chassis. You can insert the code which you like to. Okay, then Apiiro will help you to build your own platform. But as I mentioned, Apiiro has its own built-in capabilities. If you prefer to use the Apiiro building capabilities, it's pretty good. Like check marks, shift left. Okay, but if you already have like SonarQube or you have some preferred tools, Apiiro supports the integrate very well. Secret Detect, API Gateway also supports the DSC tools like No Name, like Chorus, and OZBP, we call Burp Suite. Okay, this is a key capabilities about ASPM platform. So if one of these, just take an example, if one of the issues happening in the in your runtime, so we want to make sure, okay, why this issue had happened, who inputs this vulnerabilities into this repository, when, in which commit, we can easily check this in Apiiro and see if I go into one of the repository. I just take an example, like pinpoint. I just take an example. If I go into the inventory, I move into timeline. So you can easily see that the actions happening in this repository. Oh, this has been an issue. Some issue has been commit here. Who did this commit? This is the person who did this commit and have this issue. And if we want to check more, we can go into Explorer. We can see more detail. Then Apiiro will also support the customized capabilities. You can build these kind of filters by your own. To go into the Explorer, we have a really strong capability about the customize. This is the capabilities about to build your own query in Apiiro. And you can run for testing. Okay, so because of time, we cannot show all the capabilities about Apiiro today. But if you need, we can provide a detailed, full demo for all the functions about Apiiro transform in future. If you need, just let us know. Thanks.